And I think another question, it is from, what is the new code of employment for the contract labor? I think there is no separate code of employment for contract labor. Now the Contract Labor Regulation Abolition Act is included in the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code, right? So it is not exclusive for contract labor, but it is included in that particular code. And what are all the suggestions for following unpaid wages of the employees, abscond employees, full and final settlement? See, if the person is absconded, I think some of the states will have labor welfare fund. We may have to pay the unpaid accumulations with deposit that with the labor welfare commissioner. In case if the act is not there, if the labor welfare commissioner is not there in that state, then I think we may have to deposit with the authority under Payment of Wages Act. It will be there. And another, I think this particular slide has set of 3 questions. How much gratuity is payable to employee who has died while in service and completed only 6 months? See, in case of termination of service by way of death, I think no service condition is prescribed as such. But for calculating gratuity, at least 1 year of service must be there. Maybe technically saying at least that person should have put in 240 days of service, right? So here that is missing. This person has completed only 6 months. But I would again suggest as a best practice, it is better to pay the minimum amount. That is, for this case, you calculate it for 1 year and make the payment. Otherwise, the calculation is the same. And the second question is, some employer may pay maternity benefits along with monthly salary instead of advance payment as prescribed in Maternity Benefits Act. Is such payment along with salary is sufficient compliance under the Act? See, actually, it is a benefit. It is not a salary. So it is different from salary. And Act says, in fact, when the individual woman applies for leave because of pregnancy, at that time it is to be paid. And if some balance amount is there, then that should be paid after the actual delivery, but on production of records by the individual woman employee. So I think these are all the 2 situations where we can extend, make the payment of under Maternity Benefit Act. But this practice is there, and it also appears to be an accepted practice, that is making the maternity benefits payment along with salary. The only difference is when we do this, when we make the payment as a salary, so there is a possibility that this could be treated as salary. When we make the payment as director in the Act, that is not actually salary. It is a benefit, but it is not a salary, right? So for the entire 6 months, the woman employee is deemed to have been in service. Those days shall be considered to be worked days, right? But worked days without salary, because the benefit is paid separately if we strictly follow the pattern mentioned under the Act. But if we are making the payment every month, maybe as practiced by some of the companies, there is a possibility that this could be treated as salary. Then when it becomes salary, this will be considered for all purposes, be it PF or bonus or whatever legislation. So that could be the impact, right? Otherwise, I won't say that this is wrong practice. It is, again, it is widely practiced, but the Act puts it in a different fashion. Under various Act, employer is directed to display notice in local language, but some employer display it as combination of English and local language. Is this sufficient? So see, wherever the statutory notices or even the abstracts of certain legislations are to be displayed, it is to be displayed in vernacular language and it is to be displayed in English. So both shall be there. Or the language which could be understood by the majority of the workers working in that establishment, that is to be displayed in that language, right? If you take, for example, the states like West Bengal, we may have to do it in 3 languages: vernacular language, English, as well as Hindi, right? So the position could differ from one place to another place. We may have to appropriately do that. I think we have come to an end of this session with this. Thank you so much once again for joining me on this session.